Assalamu alaikum students. In this lesson I will describe about plant tissue. There are two major categories of tissues of plants, which are simple tissues and compound tissues. Simple tissues are made of single type of cells. And first I will describe about meristematic tissues. These tissues are composed of cells which have the ability to divide, and the cells are thin walled and have large nucleus with no vacuoles. They do not have intercellular spaces among them. Two main types of meristematic tissues are apical meristem and lateral meristem. Apical meristem are located at the tips of the roots or shoots. When they divide, they cause increase in the length of the plant, so they are responsible for the primary growth. Lateral meristems are located on the lateral sides of roots and shoots, and by dividing they are responsible to increase the growth of the plant, and this growth is called secondary growth. Intercalary meristem is in the form of small patches among the mature tissues. These are common in grasses and help in the regeneration of the parts that are removed by herbivores. Next is vascular cambium and core cambium. This vascular cambium is located between xylem and phloem, while core cambium is located in the outer lateral sides of the plant. Permanent tissues originate from meristematic tissue, and the cells of these tissues do not have the ability to divide. They are further classified into epidermal tissue, ground tissue, spore tissues, which provide support to the plant. These epidermal tissues are composed of a single layer of cells and they cover plant body. They act as a barrier between environment and internal plant tissues. In roots, they are also responsible for the absorption of water and minerals. On stem and leaves, they secrete cutin, that is the coating of cutin, and it is also known as cuticle, and which prevents the plant from evaporation. Epidermal tissues also have specialized structures that perform specific functions. For example, root hairs and stomata. Now I will describe about ground tissues. Ground tissues are simple tissues made up of parenchyma cells. Parenchyma cells are the most abundant cells in the plants. Overall, they are spherical but flat at the point of their contact. They have thin primary cell walls and have large vacuoles for storage of food. In leaves, they are called mesophyll and are the sites of photosynthesis. In other parts, they are sites of respiration and protein synthesis. Now I will discuss about spore tissues. These tissues provide strength and flexibility to the plant, and they are further of two types: collenchyma tissue and sclerenchyma tissue. Collenchyma tissue is responsible to provide support and flexibility to the organ in which it is found. Collenchyma tissue, they are found in cortex beneath epidermis of young stems and in the midrib of leaves and petals of the flowers. They are made of elongated cells with uneven thickened primary cell walls. They are flexible and function to support the organ in which they are found. The next one, sclerenchyma tissue. They are composed of cells with rigid secondary cell walls. Their cell walls are hardened with lignin, which is the main chemical component of wood. Mature sclerenchyma cells cannot elongate and most of them are dead. Now I will discuss about compound or complex tissue. A plant tissue composed of more than one type of cell is called a compound or complex tissue. Xylem and phloem tissues found in vascular plants are examples of compound tissues. Xylem tissue is responsible for the transport of water and dissolved substances from roots to the aerial parts. Due to the presence of lignin, the secondary walls of its cells are thick and rigid. That is why xylem tissue also provides support to the plant body. Two types of cells are found in the xylem tissue, which are vessel element and tracheids. Vessel elements or cells have thick secondary cell walls. They lack end walls and join together to form long tubes. Tracheids are cylinder cells with overlapping ends. So these are vessel elements and these are tracheids with the overlapping ends. Next, phloem tissue. Phloem tissue is responsible for the conduction of dissolved organic matter, that is food, between different parts of plant body. Phloem tissue contains sieve tube, element, sieve plate, phloem parenchyma and companion cell. Sieve tube cells are long and their end walls have small pores. Many sieve tube cells join to form long sieve tubes, and companion cells make proteins for the sieve tube cells. Now it's time to discuss the home task for the day 2. You have to read and memorize the concepts about animal tissues and plant tissues in detail from textbook pages 74 to 82. And you have to draw the types of epithelial tissues, connective tissues, muscle tissues, and nervous tissues. You have to draw apical meristem at root tip, vascular and cork cambium in stem, epidermal tissue, ground tissues, collenchyma tissue, sclerenchyma tissue, xylem tissue, and phloem tissue. Thank you and have a nice day.